Welcome to the Full Spectrum Show. Today we are doing another Gat Cast. This is going to be episode 4. And I think as a subject we've talked about is going to be some questioning back and forth, just kind of ripped off from Forgotten Weapons kind of deal, except we're just going to be questioning each other for interesting ideas and interesting things that we might discover upon each other's answers. And then also we were looking a little bit into Russian military equipment, so we're gonna do a little dive into that and look at the kind of loadouts that Ukrainians are probably facing right now. So just doing a quick Google image search of some of the more modern Russian loadouts. Of course, some of these are going to be airsoft and whatnot, and video games and stuff, but I think there's a decent few of them that really look like they could be ripped right out from the war,
Especially from Tarkov nowadays.
Yeah, Tarkov. It's interesting seeing a bunch of dudes with VSSs. I wonder exactly, and AS Vals. I wonder what type of unit that is. One guy with a VSS, and then everybody else with AS Vals. It's like a squad of extremely close quarters combat. Their DMR doesn't go further than like 200-300 yards.
Right.
So that's kind of interesting.
Let's be honest, that's why we all want to go to Ukraine, so we can try and get our hands on an AS Val.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and live show mediation. I am going to also stream what I'm looking at, I suppose. Or as well as I can. Over Discord.
I'm looking at it already.
Okay, cool. Hopefully it's not too delayed. But yeah, pretty interesting stuff. This looks like from the Georgian War. So they definitely have upped their game since then by quite a bit. And I think I was watching Cappy, and he was saying stuff about like how the Russians are used to taking a lot of troop damage, like in invasions. Like it's not really as valued as much as our troop loss over in the West, which I thought was kind of interesting, especially if you're going to be doing like a big old, specialized like modern loadout for your dudes. You'd think you'd care more for their lives. But who knows? I also found these interesting special forces loadouts. I know this is not what, your ordinary soldier would be bringing, but supposedly this was captured off Russian special forces in Syria. Really interesting. Are you still there, Sean? Oop. I guess we have some technical difficulties. Oh, whoops. I left your call. I did not realize I did that.
No worries, yeah. I'm already watching the live stream, so I can see what you're seeing.
Yes. So that slight technical difficulty on my part aside, really interesting stuff. This Russian special forces loadout seems interesting in its own.
That is pretty badass, not gonna lie.
It is pretty awesome. What is an AK? That's definitely a 74.
A 74, yeah.
Or an AK-12, I believe, especially with the furniture.
With a Wolverine suppressor.
Yeah, probably not that exact one.
Probably
a real Russian.
Probably an actual Russian one, but
but and a lot of magazines. We were talking about that the other night as well. Just how many freaking magazines are on a standard Russian loadout.
Apparently, the Russians don't fuck around with ammo.
Yeah.
So
this is another really interesting one that I saw that'll pop up. This looks like another Syrian one. And I was trying to figure out what those have to be like some steel case 9x19 for that Glock he has.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting that they're taking Glocks. I wonder if they have some freedom in their choice in like sidearm.
That's true.
It's also
In
interesting because the belt below is something completely different. Like there's some type of threaded barrel pistol that goes in there, or maybe a pistol to light. Maybe it is for the Glock actually.
Well, that's interesting too, though, because I mean, we can't buy, Russian-made weapons like here in the States, but do they have access to U.S.-made and European-made weapons in Russia?
They probably have a lot more flexibility because I'm sure there's lots of Americans that are willing to fucking betray their country essentially for an extra dollar.
Well, I'm sure, Glock in Austria is just like, well, whoever buys Glocks is A-okay with me.
Right?
We will take your money.
That's pretty interesting. It's like a modern day AK-74 in the background.
Yeah,
Very short barreled.
very short.
But yeah, I guess that's a lot more of a of a specialized role. I think even this
Mm-hmm.
guy with a specialized weapon, but this is your kind of standard loadout, just pouches everywhere.
Yeah, that's quite the carrier. But yeah, that looks like, is that a 74 or or an AK-12?
Oh, the one that this guy's using.
Oh, the one before, sorry.
These guys or the one even before that.
Before that. My bad.
Oops, now we're back to like the guys in Georgia.
Never mind. It's all
This guy,
good.
this little guy, because this thing it looks like an AK-74U, but it's definitely been customized a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
And has quite an interesting looking can on it as well.
And completely decked out. That is a very interesting suppressor, yeah.
And it looks like they're
I mean,
using
that's such a short barrel. I mean, that
for
is crazy
for
short,
real.
yeah.
And they're still spitting out of there, I suppose. And then
Like, it's interesting that they have the pistol in the chest harness.
and they also have another holster for it down here, so they can change where they holster it. I don't understand why you'd have two holsters for the same weapon.
That appears to be a Glock. Gen 3?
Eh, pretty sure it's a
Eh.
Glock. Just like it's the same loadout that this guy has. It's just a different picture of it.
Yeah, really interesting. Really interesting.
But
Wonder if that's actual Russian or.
right, or it's like airsoft, and they just have a bunch of like Russian ammunition and stuff.
I mean, I've seen quite a lot of like standard AK-74s in Ukraine. Most of them don't have optics. That one
Yeah,
has a red dot. Most of them don't have optics.
that's one thing that I have also noticed is that in a lot of the photo ops that Russia poses for, they have a lot more set up guns, but when you see them in the field, there's a lot more just like standard AK-74 M's.
Yeah, well, that's not surprising, but a little bit of posturing. But
Right.
also, from what I've seen, actually, like even in these recent like Ukrainian conflicts, I haven't really seen Russians using really any camo on their guns. Their guns are just straight black, like no matter what.
Right, but maybe that's because we haven't seen any like actual special forces units out there
That's
either.
true.
And I also
I
wonder because Russia's fighting a war on two fronts right now because they're also fighting in Syria as well. That fight's still ongoing as far as my
hmm
understanding. So I wonder how many special operators are just at it, like eating up doing that.
Is there a Russian version of Desert Tan? And can I get my AR Cerakoted that way?
There is, and it's terrible, dude. It's the digital Russian is terrible. At least from
Yeah.
playing squad. It's too tan. You know?
Yeah.
They just want to over tan. It's like bright tan.
Yeah. God.
It's like a Russian tan uniform. No, that's like Russian digital tan. Digital desert, I should have said. That's a stock picture, but yeah, it kind of looks a lot like what it is. Or these guys are Russians in Syria.
That is an interesting camo.
Kind of looks pink in nature though, which is actually not a bad thing. If it's a little like that pink color, kind of blends
Right,
a bit of everything.
right.
So
Yeah.
maybe in real life it's actually better than it is in video game world.
Yeah, I don't know. The longer I look at it, the more, I don't know. Kind of actually seems okay. Seems like it'd work out okay. Like,
Well, these modern Russian dudes with a Mosin-Nagant with a PE scope. I'm sure they found that out there. Take this back to the motherland.
one of the Afghans had this. We're taking this baby home. This is going up on the wall at my babushkas.
Yeah, but not too much. I also, Wikipedia, of course, has their own list of different, you know, everything. It looks like they
Yeah.
have these pretty advanced, like, Ratnik suits, but most of it's just, like, web grenade pouches. And, like, my biggest shock has been how much ammo they have them take. It's a lot. It's like they don't plan to give them more for a long period of time.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe that's the whole idea. You're not gonna get resupplied in the field, so it's like whatever you're carrying, that's what you've got.
That's why they are so
So
big on these super
make
double.
sure,
Make sure you bring everything.
yeah, make sure you're stocked up because you're not gonna get a resupply.
Although maybe American Special Forces units take a lot more ammo as well. I'm not too sure. I guess it wouldn't be too big of a surprise to me.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've heard, like there a lot of like soldiers definitely prefer to take as much ammo as they can possibly carry. So, doesn't necessarily surprise me.
And it also, just looking at a lot of the small arms that they use, I mean, it's really been hard to see any exact specific guns other than like AK-74Ms, at least in my mind, at least that I've
Hmm.
seen, because there hasn't been a lot of pistol showing, just a few quick scenes.
I mean, I wish that we could have some of those Russian pistols in the US just to test, just to see how they are,
Like an MP443.
The 443,
It's
the
pretty
standard
interesting.
Russian sidearm now, I believe it is.
Yeah,
I would not be surprised if there's still plenty of guys carrying Makarovs.
I'm not at all surprised either. I mean, 9x18 is still a big round out, you know.
It, it's still a capable round,
Uh,
honestly. And it's a small pistol. A Makarov is a small pistol, so.
they really went heavy with the 9x39s. I feel like we were in the West. We were quite far behind with that in terms of like 300 blackout and equivalent rounds.
Subsonic ammunition.
Yeah,
Yeah, there is quite a lot of like guns chambered in the 9x39, which is interesting. When I was watching Brandon Herrera's VSS video, was very interesting to see because I've heard of the cartridge before, and the cartridge itself is basically as interesting as the gun.
I'm
But
I've always over fantasized the VSS and how quiet it really is because I'm
yeah,
for me I'm a bit of a nut that way in terms of how quiet can I make it. I just want
quite.
the quietest of quiet. The
I
first
just want to
suppressor
hear.
that I
I
got.
just want. I just want to hear the hammer drop and the primer pop.
Yeah, exactly. The first rifle suppressor I got was like a ridiculously oversized one, honestly.
uh,
Sandman L. It's so heavy. It's a big hunk of steel.
yeah, but I bet it's quiet.
It's decent. Yeah, it's pretty decent in the right application.
Yeah, it was interesting to see in that video, like the integral suppressor. It's just like three baffles that are just like the bent sheet metal with the hole, and it's just like, oh, all right, I guess. But that was still really cool. I think he said in that video, like they're like 280 grain bullets.
Yeah, I think
So,
I think the standard are 260 is what I thought, but I could be wrong.
I mean, that's a heavy bullet, like for sure.
I think the only thing that comes close to that much entertainment when shooting is like the 260 grain 308 rounds by Atomic.
Those subsonic
the subsonic
308s.
cycling ones.
Oh my
Yeah,
god, those are amazing. God,
they're really fun. They're quiet. They're
being
expensive though.
being able to shoot like a 308 without ear protection at all.
Yeah,
Just being like, damn, that
it's
is so quiet.
really nutty, honestly.
They also drop like a stone though.
They drop so quick.
You could literally, and you can watch them fly. Like if you're in like what, like if you're using a scope, you can just watch them fly, and then watch them like do like a nosedive, and you're like, oh shit.
It's going down.
If you're shooting someone, if you shoot or not someone, if you're shooting something at like 100 yards, it's like nosing down at like a 45-degree angle. You're like, holy shit.
For real. I imagine those VSSs are very similar to that as well.
Yeah,
And there's only so much you can do with physics. Maybe he had like a finned subsonic, like flying around.
I doubt it would help that much. Like you said, it's just physics.
Well, I mean, if you were able to make it light enough where it cruises, you know, or
That's
do something like an RPG finned like subsonic round that you can let off like a tracking round, you know, and
hmm
then just have a shape charge in the front of the round, so that way if you hit like something with armor, you just go right through it.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, and probably really expensive each round.
I'm sure.
It
I'm
ended up
sure.
being like the Navy's, what are those really nice ships that we have now, the stealth ones that don't like we spent so much money on, but we don't really have the littoral ships or whatever they're called,
hmm
LCSs. We really don't have a purpose for them, and we originally were gonna put like these crazy guns on them, but the rounds are like ridiculously expensive. We couldn't even test fire them,
Yeah.
so it's like never mind.
We
Oh,
just got these stealth ships now.
how we just have these stealth ships? What do you do with them? We'll
Uh,
figure it out.
we we be we be we be stealthy on the
Yeah,
ocean on the ocean.
a decade later. People have been talking like maybe we should just use them as like mine clears, because if they blow up, then it's like
They
a,
both
a
don't
net
give a shit.
a net loss. Not really, it's like
Okay, God. That's the most terrible thing I've ever heard.
uh
Also, it sounds like totally standard U.S. arms development.
uh
It's like, let's just dump all this money into this project, and then a decade later, actually, this was a complete waste of money. We fucked up. Um, let's just scrap the whole thing. Cut them up, use them for scrap. It's like, god damn it.
It seems like the best Russian, or not just Russian, but military innovations come from like small line people, like the Owen gun,
Right.
from Australia. Some crazy, weird looking pictures of that.
Well, even the AK, Kalashnikov himself was, an upstart little designer.
Yeah. Or Barrett, the M82 rifle.
Some guy that wanted to develop like a precision rifle that could shoot 50 BMG.
Uh,
Just had to develop it in his garage.
I don't think at first it was even supposed to be like, a precision. It was like, I want to shoot a 50 cal,
I was gonna say, yeah, not even precision, I should say. He wanted to shoot a 50 cal, but he didn't want a machine gun, obviously, because that would be
uh,
prohibitive. So he's like, I gotta build a rifle that can shoot 50 BMG.
that's a dream rifle. Honestly, the M107 though, the
God's
light
caliber.
version. Yeah. Well, I kind of like which is ridiculous. It's really stupid, but the short-barreled ones. I mean, the regular ones have such long barrels, but you do lose a ton of velocity by going to that shorter barrel.
By going to the short barrel, yeah. I feel like that's kind of what you'd want, like with the 50 anyway, like is the velocity.
For sure, you'd want as much as possible on that big of a round, burning that
To,
much
to
power.
go to go along with that 750 grain bullet.
Yeah. Then if you have their specialized can for it,
I heard when
that's
Browning was
ridiculous.
developing that cartridge, I mean, it's called BMG because it stands for Browning Machine Gun, because he like initially developed it for machine guns because he wanted a machine gun that would be effective against like human targets out to like the maximum range as possible. And it's just like, well, you did that, buddy. Holy shit. A bullet that big going that fast. Holy shit. Like, I do not want to see what happens when that hits.
It's a little cannon for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as standard Russian military outfit goes, it just seems like seems weird to me, that you'd be taking so much loss and not making a big deal of it. And then looking back at previous wars, I mean, as we saw some Russian soldiers from like the Georgian War,
Mm-hmm.
were way like they weren't even like rocking body armor.
Which is crazy to me
Yeah, I mean, but
in this kind of day and age.
I wonder how well China has armored out. I mean, they supply a lot of the world's aramid, like
I wouldn't
cheap,
be surprised if they had like mass issued like soft body armor.
right?
But I mean, we've all seen the videos of, US troops in Iraq and Afghanistan getting hit by like 7.62 by 54R, like in the vest, and like it drops them, like they get knocked over, but then they get back up, like,
Right.
and they're fine. Like sure your body armor can stop like, small like pistol rounds and like small rifle bullets, but what about like a big rifle bullet, like.
Yeah, that's where things get sketchy.
Did you see Garantham's video on the what is it called, that titanium helmet?
Oh yeah, the Altons.
The Altons, yeah. God, the classic one with the visor.
Yeah.
That was actually a really interesting video. They basically showed that the visor is like pretty fragile. Like you could definitely shoot through the visor and get someone, but the actual helmet and the face shield itself,
Pretty strong.
it's pretty strong. I was surprised.
It's pretty heavy though. It's like,
I mean, it's extremely heavy. Would not want to wear one of those. But I was just very surprised when they shot the 44 Magnum at it and it just deflected the 44 Magnum like up into the air. I was like, holy shit.
Total small risk for everyone you're standing around now.
Spall risk and ricochet risk. Imagine if that just ricochets off your helmet into the guy right next to you and like, blows his head off. You're like, sorry, comrade. Better you than me. Better you than me.
Oh shit.
Holy shit. But I mean, hey, at least it stopped it, You would live. Like he said, that would rattle your brain. You'd probably have, like a concussion, but you would live.
Most definitely. All right. Well, I think we haven't talked. We've gone on a little bit. We haven't really gotten too deep into Russian gear, but to be honest, it's not like we're experts in this either. So it just, looking at it, and it's just very interesting to see their loadout levels. But we're about 25 minutes into everything. I think we should switch to some questions just for a little bit, and maybe if we want at the very end we can touch back up on some of this Russian stuff.
Yeah, fuck it, why not?
308 battle rifles.
Battle rifles.
If you can only have one for all time, what would it be?
That's a tough one. I mean, there's several that I would like to own just for the coolness factor of having one.
Right.
But honestly, going out off of the ones that I have shot, mostly through you.
Yeah. That's fair.
Basically the POF.
Oh,
the Patriot Ordnance Factory 308.
Dude, that thing is
is incredible. Honestly, just like the fact that the recoil, the lack thereof of recoil on that gun is just kind of insane. People always talk about like the like, oh yeah, the roller lock on HK guns and like the copies. That's what makes them so soft shooting and they're so good. And honestly, shooting like the G3 clone compared to the POF, I think I would take the POF like in a heartbeat. It's shorter, it's lighter, it's more handy, less recoil.
Same length as basically the same length as an AR, like 15.
It's just an absolutely fantastic gun. I was very impressed by that gun.
I think for me, I'm biased in this regard because I have one and I've put a stupid amount of money down to get it because they're really not cheap guns, honestly.
Yeah.
That's just the real problem with them is they're just really, really expensive, you know.
POFs. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're nice, and the extra engineering step that, the guy who owned the place, who unfortunately passed away not too long ago. Um, he was the like engineer behind all of it, and he had some really kind of revolutionary ideas in terms of, as revolutionary as you can be with an AR,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of making it AMB, making it lighter, things like that.
Right.
But they've gone through so many generations of them that I'm sure there's going to be even further generations, and there's going to be other AR-10s that people could build, and they could build it with a very similar gas block that those
Mm-hmm.
use, because they use and some type of adjustable gas block. I actually don't know the exact name of it. I believe you can buy them aftermarket, so you can, if you're building your own AR.
Right.
I think that's one thing that is definitely something to think about. Is if you're planning to shoot in a bunch of different environments. And I will say, from my time owning, 308s in general, and my very first rifle, which is sound ridiculous, but it was a Kel-Tec RFB.
Mm-hmm.
And I still like that rifle, but dang, it has some issues, no doubt. And I
I
think
mean, Caltech.
Yeah, and I think another part of it was just really affiliated with the fact that it was really based on an FAL. Like, except instead of, having less gas settings, they added like twice as many, which is ridiculous to me.
Which is worse.
Which is
We don't.
worse.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest problem with the FAL. And the FAL is an awesome gun.
Uh-huh. I was gonna say honorable mention to the FAL. Those are really, 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 really cool. I would love to have like an original one with like wood furniture, just for like badass looks.
Right, or like one
Eh,
that had like the original furniture with the bipods that popped out.
the bipod, yeah, that would be sick.
Okay, kind of like this picture right here.
Also, shout out the original M14, not the M1A one. Like an original M14 with its beautiful wooden stock. That would be a nice one. Like, not to, obviously, it's not the most practical rifle, but just to hang on the wall. And yeah, that is sick.
I
That
don't
is
know.
really awesome with the pop out bipod. That's really neat.
And then beyond that point, though, I mean, look at the military has EBRs. Clearly, they're still effective rifles to be used.
Right. They still work. I just love that classic look with the extra long flash hider, you know.
Oh yeah, or
Just
an M1A
I
basically.
also I also love the like the what are they called? The SOCOM versions, the
Oh,
short
the
barrel
short
ones.
barreled ones. Yeah, those are
Oh
pretty
man,
cool.
those are really cool too. I like those a lot.
I mean, they're not really that short, aren't they? Like more like 16 inches.
Yeah, I was gonna say it just shortens the barrel from 20 inches plus the flash hider to 16 inches without and no flash hider on it, I don't think.
Well, let's see on the Springfield Armory's direct website.
Yeah, let's
M1A
find out.
SOCOM 16 rifles. M1A SOCOM 16. The question is it worth the price?
Yeah, that is what you always have to ask yourself.
16.25 barrel, so I think that's a really extremely reasonable barrel length.
I mean, for a 308,
Yeah,
16 inches is that's.
it's not too short, but it's definitely shorty for a 308.
It's about as short as I'd be comfortable taking a 308, that's for sure.
Agreed. I mean, you
But
can take it shorter for the memes and just
you can, for the muzzle
yeah,
flash.
if you want a dragon breather.
Look at that muzzle brake though, machined in there like
Yeah, that's pretty
that.
crazy. I bet it
Yeah.
actually keeps it down quite a bit.
Yeah.
Shooting my little brother's M1A, it's definitely he has the full length one though.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, they both have a distinctive look, both the models, and I think they both look great. So
Yeah, the
honorable
standard
honorable mention to those two. Like if I could have one of those to hang on the wall, I would do it in a heartbeat.
M1A standard issue. Question is, how much are these things running for? Let's see. I'm curious. Okay, so yeah, the MSRP on the SOCOM 16 rifles is 2,000 to 2,400.
We.
At that point, you're getting pretty close to POF territory.
Yeah. And I think when you look at like the weight and you know, ergonomic and control factors and all that, I think it's pretty clear which rifle is more effective. But like I said, would I like to have it in my safe? You're damn right I would.
Right, no joke. I wish that they made them more reasonable, you know?
Yeah,
Because
they're a bit high end.
do you think they're produced to that same degree though?
I don't know because I've never.
All right.
I honestly haven't looked up, any
If
reviews or anything on them.
if we ever get
I just
donations, we'll have to try a M1 SOCOM out and see what it's like.
I promise to all our hundreds of viewers, we will start out slower than that. We
Yeah.
will not start with a $2,000 rifle. We will start out slower than
Well, we'll have to because
that.
luckily, before we even get that far, we have just our own inventory of, you know, personal collections and friends collections that we can
We
go to.
do have quite a collection. We can. I'm actually excited to make content and do all that. There's a lot to be had.
Our rifle. Unfortunately, typing MDR rifle in is just going to bring me to a bunch of Tarkov stuff. But this is another gun that I think is extremely cool. And, bullpups in general. Although I hear this gun is actually better in something a bit smaller, like 5.56. Interesting.
The Desert Tech MDRX
The Micron.
Micron.
This is ridiculously slow. Starting at 670. Whoa. Oh no, it's just a conversion kit. So this is
Okay.
you'd have to SBR it then, right? With an 11.5-inch barrel, which is actually pretty decent for a 5.56. It's not like super short, but it's not like.
Not too short, but it's not
But
crazy. It's not 16 inches.
but
Yeah.
look at how small that thing is. It's
That
like,
is tiny.
oh
Oh
my
God,
gosh.
that's actually kind of beautiful
That's actually pretty cool.
in its own fucked up way.
Dude, it's just slightly longer than a P90. That's pretty crazy.
That is crazy to have an 11.5 inch 5.56 like in that short of a package. I think bullpups are kind of taking a rise just because I think now that the technology is catching up. I think the idea has always been there, but now like the manufacturing is also there as well, where we can actually make these things work.
Seriously, it's pretty crazy. They're just so
Yeah,
small, dude,
so small.
and you don't lose a ridiculous amount of capability by going
You
to
don't.
that degree,
Yep.
which is
You still have the barrel length, yeah. So
which is crazy to
you
me.
get all the velocity.
Then
And then you can add on suppressors and stuff, and then it brings the thing back to like the length of like a standard rifle, so it's not even that long with a suppressor,
well,
like
ideally you get one of those new generation suppressors. I don't know if you've seen those. Oh, 300 blackout bullpup would actually be pretty cool.
oh wow.
Anyway,
It can do forward eject and side eject, huh?
yeah, it's pretty interesting. You could choose which way you want to eject.
I
They're
think I would always go side eject, but
they're really interesting. They're really cool little guns. I wonder if you can do that little tiny, because honestly, in 5.56, still an 11.5-inch barrel. I prefer a 60-inch. Especially if it's a bullpup. Regardless, just gives you that little extra oomph.
you know, get the full velocity,
But
yeah.
if you're going with like something like this, can you do it with 300 blackout? Because
I
300.
would hope. I mean, you only need like an 8 inch barrel with 300 black, so that allows you to get it really short.
Yeah, go. Well, I mean, you don't even need to make it. Look how short it is. It's probably too short at this point. Being the size of a P90, you probably wouldn't want it shorter than that. But what you could
Even
do
shorter than that.
is get one of those like have you seen those General Ordnance rifle, the next generation rifles?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so the suppressors, wow,
right. Those like big gigantic suppressors.
Ordnance.
The the big diameter suppressors, you mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you don't even have to add like that much length per se to the rifle. Like,
Yeah, exactly. So you can use a suppressor kind of like this. Sorry for my retardation, slowing me down by quite a bit, but and it's much more big in volume, i.e. being thicker, but it's okay because anyways, it's on a gun like this, where you have a little bit higher sight over bore regardless.
right, exactly. Because I mean, most bullpup rifles are basically like inline like designs like that anyway. So you already need like your optic to be mounted higher so it could like line up with your eye. So
This would be quite the excellent home defense weapon if you can get it in 300 black. Like you can do
yeah.
anything within like 300 yards with
Oh
this,
wow, that would be amazing.
and then get a can like that. Maybe just put.
Price though, price.
Oh god, well the conversion just for the 5.56 one, I believe that's 5.56. It doesn't specifically say. Uh, yeah, obviously is. Yeah, so I need to SBR though, which is unfortunate. But
Yeah, I'm hesitant to do that.
outside of that,
But we'll see. Maybe I would like to do that. So,
so let's just say the conversion is 600 or 700 bucks, which is quite a bit already, to be honest. Let's see.
I'm probably thinking like bare minimum 2,500 for the rifle.
I would say bare minimum too.
Bare minimum 2,500. But,
I'm not seeing a. Let's
Oh,
see.
anyway, we
Ordering.
kind of got like on a tangent on Q&As.
It's true. It's true, which is really easy
But
to do. But yeah, we can retract back from just talking about interesting 308s and concepts.
we don't have to.
What is your next question?
So, if you could, obviously, the entire NFA should be repealed. We all know that.
Indubitably.
But if you could like choose one thing, suppressors, like SBRs, SBSs, or machine guns to be deregulated, what would you choose?
That's a really difficult one.
I know, right?
Like if I could only choose
I
one.
I got you. I got you good.
You did get me good. I really have a thing for suppressors, honestly.
I knew you were gonna say that,
But I think
to
the
be
next
honest.
thing would be short
And
barrel
I think,
rifles and shotguns.
yep, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, see, to me, the suppressor thing is just the most sensible. It's like, look, it's just about hearing protection.
Yeah.
Everybody should be able to go shoot without ears,
I mean,
Like, and not.
to be honest, everybody should, even when shooting, with a can on it, you should be probably wearing ears as well to protect your hearing.
Well, yeah, I should specify, unless you're using like specifically like subsonic ammunition and you know that it's 100% hearing safe, but it's still about hearing protection.
Right.
It's not like, to me, it has like suppressors nowadays really have nothing to do with crime whatsoever.
Yeah, truly, and it really takes a lot of the bite from a gun. So especially for like new shooters, shooting a suppressed weapon is way simpler and way less like. Some people do enjoy like the concussiveness of guns and traumatic brain injury.
I know for a fact that I don't.
Yeah.
I don't like guns that have quite a concussive muzzle blast. It's actually very unpleasant
Yeah, well,
to shoot.
shooting does some of those I do personally enjoy shooting, but especially shooting things like that indoors and stuff like that can be quite concussive and from different areas. So
I agree.
I definitely would say it's probably worthwhile though to just use the
For,
suppressor because
for me, it would be SBRs and SBSs, man. All I want to be able to do is put a normal, like full-length wooden stock on a shotgun that has a 14-inch barrel instead of an 18-inch barrel.
I want to do the same with lever guns, but
Like, I don't even want to go stupid short, even though I probably would with a few guns just for fun. But
right.
like, I just want to like shorten my barrels by like about like 4 to 5 inches. Not even that much. I'm not trying to make them super tiny. I just want to. It's just the fact that 16 inches for a rifle and 18 inches for a shotgun. It's just not practical. It's just a bit too long.
And being able to do whatever you want, from your MPXs to just your pistol caliber carbines, being able to have a lot of more leeway and flexibility, I think would be awesome.
And especially for shotguns, like it's not even like for rifles, obviously, it's really about velocity, like a lot of people want to keep that velocity. It's really not like that for shotguns, you don't lose like a ton of velocity like when you lose barrel length, and like the main reason like people like bird hunt with like 28-inch or 30-inch barrels on their shotguns is it just makes like the swing and the follow through easier and the sight alignment. It's really not for like reaching out to like farther ranges, because you can always get a choke on your shotgun.
Yeah, definitely.
Like the length is really just for like the sweep and the follow through, like so.
I mean, well, the last time I went clay shooting, I was using the only shotgun I own, which is a DP12,
Absolutely.
and it was working pretty well. Not only
Yeah,
because I, you know, with an
because
18 inch
you
barrel,
have a second
uh,
shot.
and yeah, I got the second shot, and it also has the RMR on it, which helps definitely quite a bit too. Yeah, the second
Absolutely.
shot definitely helps, but you could get that
A
with an
lot
over under.
a lot of people will scoff at a red dot, on a shotgun for clay shooting. Basically, a red dot on any gun makes anything better. Like it's just the simple fact of the matter. Like it makes shooting easier. There
Yeah,
are the purists out there that are like, you don't need anything but a front bead. That's true. You can get really good at that, but it's a lot easier to get good faster if you have a red dot.
yeah, truly.
And I've only ever shot clays with shotguns that have
Mm.
18-inch barrels, and I've always done just fine.
You
So,
could always get like a tritium powered RMR too. I think the only ones,
yeah.
I think ACOG might be the only ones that actually do like a tritium RMR, but they're pretty cool. Although I do have to say that not in all circumstances do those work quite the way you'd want, just because, yeah, just different lighting settings where it would be difficult. But they do seem to work good under nods, which most tritium products do not. So
Mm-hmm. That is good.
I think there is also full size red dots that Triticon makes too. Aren't those old like ones that have the big old circles? Aren't those also tritium powered? I thought.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to be able to be importing as well. I think import laws would be really nice. Obviously, with the whole Russian thing, we're definitely not seeing anything from there for a long time. But
Definitely not.
with other
Well,
countries, like it's really
I hope.
tough to be like what is it 99R compliant or whatever.
Right, yeah. I hope he's stocked up on 545.
Not really. That was my choice for buying an AK in that caliber. Whoops, couldn't help it.
Nice caliber.
Yep.
Yep, yep.
Not bad. It'd be cool if, there's more like ARs being made in it as well. So that way you can, it'd be just cool in general to have, more caliber choice if we were producing it here.
I think so, yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna have to stock up on ammo pretty soon, man, because the weather's been super nice. Me and you have to go shooting.
Very true.
Go put some rounds down range.
This is fact. Bring out the good old G3 and or the PTR or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Next
Plus,
question.
I've got a lot of old guns to shoot.
Exactly. And you haven't shot a lot of them,
A lot of them I haven't, so
which is
I want to
crazy.
take them out and like get them out. Yeah.
What's your favorite old gun, I guess, in your collection?
My favorite is my M1,
M1 Garand.
or both of them, I should say.
Classic.
They're just really beautiful rifles. They balance really well. The sights are fantastic. I mean, I I have the end block clips, and I have like a bunch of snap caps, so I always like fuck around with like reloading and stuff. And they're really easy and fast to reload. Like,
The
you know,
iconic sound. Not that you'd actually
everyone
hear that in battle, but
the ping is actually very awesome to hear when it just goes ding and it just shoots that empty clip out. It's really fun. There's really like it's an awesome sound to hear, but of course, yeah, no one would hear that. Like if in combat, like with bullets going off, you would not hear anything. You would not be like, "Oh, I heard a ping. They're out of ammo." That's kind of ridiculous, like. So, but it is just a very satisfying sound to hear when you're just at home on your couch or on the range, and done shooting, and you just go ding. Yeah, they're really awesome. And they're really simple guns. Like I I've only, I watched videos about how to disassemble them a couple times, and now that I've watched them a few times, like I know the process, and they're very simple. Once you learn how to take them apart, like it's a very simple system. It's a very elegant system, really. It honestly just relies on a lot of very, very nice machining.
It's a American classic. That is absolutely for a fact. Just
Absolutely, yeah. They don't make them like they used to.
don't
Let's
make
just put
'em
it
like
like
they used to.
that. Yeah.
So true.
Now yeah, they're just beautiful rifles. Like, and they're heavy rifles. I'll say that, but they do balance very well. And I mean, you are getting full power 30-06, so
I wonder how many
that's
SVT-40s are out there for sale.
oh, that would be an awesome gun to have.
Always been curious, but I wonder how much those are selling for. Let's see. It's not saying.
Although honorable mention, my second favorite gun in my collection, Remington Model 11. It's the Browning Auto 5 clone. It's not a clone because it was licensed by Browning. It's actually a very interesting story. So, John Browning for a long time worked for the Winchester Company. That's the whole reason why John Browning actually wanted to design, apparently, like a pump action 12 gauge. But then Winchester said, "Well, everything that we have is lever action. So, could you make like it lever action?" And he's like, "Well, I suppose I could do that." And so he came up with the 1887, and it was a very popular shotgun. It worked really well. Not well, it worked reasonably well, but people liked it. But then, John Browning got, like, a little bit more leeway to do what he actually wanted to do, and he came up with the Model 1897, the pump action, which was, as we know, wildly successful.
AKA the trench gun.
The trench gun, as we all know it in video games, the trench gun of World
Yeah.
War II. And of course, the 1887 is the iconic cowboy lever action shotgun, or the gun that you saw in Terminator 2
Yeah.
with Arnold. It's doing that amazing the swing cocking motions. Yeah. So John Browning designs these two shotguns, which in their own right are very successful and very amazing guns. But he's not done, and he knows that it can go farther. And so what he really wants to do is develop the world's first, not, I shouldn't say the world's first, but I should say the world's first commercially successful semi-automatic shotgun. And so he came up with this design, the Browning Auto 5. And for a long time, Browning and the Winchester Company had this weird agreement in place where he would come up with a patent for a gun, basically just any patent for a gun, like a gun mechanism or whatever, and Winchester would just pay him outright, basically just to own the patent and just make sure that no one else could produce it, just so that they had a stranglehold on the market. But when he came up with his semi-auto shotgun design, Winchester decided that no, we're actually not that interested. It's just not that interesting. We don't want to buy it from you. And Browning wasn't happy with that, and he knew that he had an amazing concept on his hands. And so then he went to Remington. And apparently, as the story goes, while he was in the lobby waiting to meet with the president of Remington, the then president of Remington had a heart attack and died.
Oh my gosh.
This was about like 1902, 1903, I believe. So yeah, like that was just a weird thing. And so that kind of stalled the deal a little bit. but he still knew that he had a big shotgun going, a big deal in the gun world going on. So then he went to Belgium and he took his idea to FN, which he had worked with many times before, and he showed the design to them, and they were like, "Man, this is an awesome idea. This is fantastic." And so FN started making it as the FN, Auto 5, the Browning Model Auto 5. But a couple of years later, Remington figured out, what they were doing, and they, got a new president, and they figured out what they were doing, and they went back to John Browning, and they're like, actually, that does look pretty awesome. We'd like to make one too. And so apparently, John Browning, Remington, and FN all came to an arrangement around 1904, 1905. And basically, the arrangement was like, we're both going to be making licensed copies of the Browning Auto 5, but FN's just going to sell it in Europe, and Remington's going to sell it in America. And equal business for everybody. And apparently that actually worked. So
Nice.
the companies went on to produce them. Of course, I have a Remington Model 11. They produced those, I believe, from 1905 to 1947 was the last time they made them, and I have like a 1946.
So quite a wide
it's
range. So you have a pretty new
it's
one.
it's right at the end of production, yeah. And they produced them for a long time, which, even after like modern pump action designs like the 1187 came into being, people still wanted these semi-auto uh, Browning shotguns. And FN themselves made them until I believe 1976. So
Just shows what kind of a legacy these gun manufacturers leave behind. It's kind of crazy.
well, John Browning in his own right. I mean, he's a legend.
Honestly.
But anyway, sorry to get on a tangent about those guns.
Oh no, that's how
I
it
really
goes.
like them. I find them to be fascinating guns. You were showing the clip of the long recoil action. They're just they're just really interesting guns mechanically. They're really interesting and fun guns to shoot. And they're honestly pretty cheap. If you want to go on Gun Broker and go and find one, you can easily have one for less than 500. So I would encourage anybody that's interested in that kind of thing, if they think that's neat, to just go ahead and snag one while you can, because they made a good number of them, but once people own them and the market's kind of dried up, they're dried up. So
I really want a Russian 1895.
a Nagant revolver.
No, a Winchester Model
Oh,
1895.
a
No,
Winchester.
Russian.
Yeah. Chambered in 54R.
Yeah,
Oh man, that would be fantastic. Oh
that's one that I really would like.
God, that'd be great.
Not sure if those are even on the market. Nor could I buy one right now, if even they were, but
I haven't looked them up, but I assume they would be expensive.
I mean, they're getting older now. They were made in decent quantities though.
Mm-hmm. That would be a really cool gun to have and shoot.
Good old 1895.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different, they just chambered these things in so many different calibers, so that's one of the issues with finding a specific 54R one if you're trying to go out and get a specific Russian one. And now that things are being banned from Russia, I'm sure it's only going to go up because, people want banned things.
People want, the forbidden fruit.
It's the forbidden fruit. They want what they can't have.
They want what they can't have, yeah. They want what they're told they're not allowed to have.
Yeah, exactly. I'll show you. That's why none of these laws make sense anyways.
None of them do. Every gun law is an infringement.
Oh yeah, no,
Let that sink in.
these are quite old. Oh dude, this is cool though. They have a compass embedded in the wood stock.
Nice.
If you get lost, that's probably more than modern Russian troops are going out with. Just kidding. Oh, those are so cool. They have like the cross on the side, the ribbon cross, and
Oh my God, that is so pretty, honestly.
yeah, this one was quite expensive. I think it looks like it sold for $5,400.
$5,000. Nice. That's yeah.
So
Oh man, that is a beautiful piece though.
very,
That
very
that
epic.
That's a safe queen.
That is a safe queen, for sure. But yeah, I mean the high estimate was $600 going into the bid.
You know what gun I'd really actually like to have, and I hope that I could get one at like a reasonable price?
What's that?
A Springfield trapdoor
Ooh, good luck with
in
that. I've
in
looked at.
in, in 4570.
Yeah, that might be.
I've looked at them too. They are pretty scary expensive.
I mean, you got these Ubrettis, which are pretty nice, I hear, but
Yeah, I actually
twenty two
might go
hundred
with the
dollars.
reproductions.
Yeah, they're
I
super
actually,
cool.
I,
But
I actually was looking at it was either a Pieta or an Uberti reproduction of a Lamont revolver,
I thought you
and
hated
it
those.
I hate the Lamont in Hunt. Let's get let's get that clear. The design itself, I think, is neat. A 9-shot revolver with a shotgun barrel in the middle. Come on,
It is.
what's not to love?
It is pretty neat.
Uh,
Some cool top breaks and stuff. Yeah, Ubretti or however you say it does have some cool weapons, no doubt.
Uberti,
Uberti.
it's my people. They do have reproductions of the Smith and Wesson top brakes. Yeah,
Uh,
those would be beautiful.
th-
Yeah,
they have a lot of really interesting stuff. Some things that are
those are
ridiculously
The
nice.
Russian model too, with the spur on the trigger guard.
I'm kind of surprised that they have these guns in like 357. Actually, that's actually pretty cool,
Yeah, yeah, man.
and they're not too expensive either. I'm kind of
They're
surprised.
they're not too expensive, and these are quality reproductions. Like these are some of like the best in the game.
I'd probably do a
I was
can
gonna say, so if
get
you're thinking about this would be like the brand to go for.
get like a 1875 break open in 357 Magnum.
How cool would that be? Oh my God.
Ching.
Look at that with the case hardening. Oh
uh,
my God, that is gorgeous. Holy shit.
it's hard not to like things like that. But talking about like
MSRP 899. That's not bad at all. Oh my God. Wow.
considering their freaking rifle cost being 2200, but they also have a
Oh man.
sharps. That's pretty cool
Tho-
too.
A Sharps would be an awesome rifle. Yeah,
The
those are, man, those are beautiful. Look at those.
$2500 though. But yeah,
Yeah,
what a rifle
pr-
though.
pricey, pricey.
And this is probably not a gun you'll shoot extremely often either, and probably pass down.
No, yeah.
I just wish that there was a really easy, like a cheaper version. That way I can, because I couldn't buy one of these and then, in any good fashion, Bubify it. Like that I could, I'd be a terrible person for doing that or have way too much money. I just want a cheaper one where I can, put a can on it and do some like wonky
Oh
shit with
God.
it.
Do some hunt role playing with it. Oh God,
uh,
that'd actually be really fun. You know, I do have a Colt Woodsman. It's not one of the pre-Woodsmans. It does actually say Colt Woodsman on the side, but I have dated it and I believe it comes from 1925. So it is one of the early Woodsmans. It is though. I mean, it's in not the best condition, and the barrel is actually like slightly bulged in two places. So I have been thinking it would be kind of, it would be kind of like FUD sacrilegious. But what if got the barrel threaded on that, and then I put like a 22 suppressor on there?
on the Woodsman, how would that be sacrilegious? I mean, it is
I,
super old, but
it is old, but it'd actually be awesome because I heard the CIA did that a little bit for a while for like spy guns.
I mean, 22s are, what were the two main pistols that were suppressed in World War II? Like, there was the well rod, right? Everybody, I'm sure, knows that. And there was also, what was it? The HDR pistol, I believe it was called.
Yeah. I mean, there were like a bunch of
No.
like secret, like classified stuff, like with like silenced pistols going on, but nothing like confirmed or heavily documented. But
These guys, whatever these things are called, HDMS, the
right,
OSS suppressors, and these were 22 caliber, like, you know, suppressed weapons made and specifically for like combat use or like espionage use at least.
right, yeah.
Pretty crazy. Yeah. We go
See, I don't think that'd be kind of crazy to like go like integrally suppressed with the whole barrel.
kind of like the Maxim 9s, right? Isn't that what they're called?
Right, yeah, that'd be kind of cool to do. I would just hate to like chop off the whole barrel on that woodsman, even
Right.
though it is like a little bit bulged. It'd be kind of like almost cooler to just like keep the long because it has a 6-inch barrel. It'd kind of be cool to keep the long barrel and then like hang like a heavy can on it. As impractical as that would be, just to make it look like as old timey as possible. What I would really like is one of those old Maxim cans where it's not the hole through the suppressor isn't like right through the center of the diameter. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the hole is through the top, and then like the actual suppressor kind of hangs below, and that allows you to use like the standard iron sights with no problem. Like,
Yeah, you're talking about Silencer Co. Is it the Maxim 9s? No. That's the Maxim 9.
the original Maxim suppressors back in like from Hiram Maxim, like back in like the 1800s.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's actually the way he designed them. So, you didn't need like higher sights or anything. He just
The
designed them so that you could, use them normally. Like
the Ospreys are what I was thinking of though.
the Ospreys, right, right, right.
Pretty neat. I just, in
Yeah.
my experience, they never actually stay straight. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
always are.
And that's kind of the issue is like if especially if you're screwing it on with threads, how are you gonna get it screwed on perfectly so it like aligns perfectly, like in the downward position?
I definitely am curious about the Maxim 9. You know, as a pistol as well.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty interesting. But where would you like if you already have a can? I would beyond a can. I would want a light first. That'd be my first survival thing on a pistol.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But
I think a light would honestly be more important.
yeah. Well, we kind of have
Anyway,
been
yeah.
rambling a bit, but we're coming up to our
Yeah.
first hour, so this is
I
actually
was
going to
gonna
be
say.
the end of Gat Cast episode 4. But we'll definitely come with more questions and be looking at
Absolutely.
some more subjects and more interesting things to talk about. So anybody that's watching, thanks for coming in and tuning in, and this has been the full spectrum.
Thanks, everybody.